I was hurt as a university administrator. I was hurt as a person that admires Rennie as a student leader, and I was hurt as a parent. So I was shocked and appalled by it. Rennie posted her message to her Facebook community sometime near 11 p.m., midnight-ish. Within an hour or so, she started receiving responses not only from her friends and loved ones, but also the university administration reached out to her. One of our staff members, Varun Soni, I believe, saw the post and contacted her. That morning, Varun shared the post with me and many others in the administration, and we all reached out to Rennie and asked her to come in for us to talk with her, check with her, and see what she wanted to do moving forward. So our immediate concern was reaching out to Rennie and supporting her to see what's going on. This is our same approach that we would use with any student on our campus. And we said, what do you want to do? What would be, some students say, you know what, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm just tired of it. Some students say, I want to file a full report and follow through the process. So we take the lead from the student. This situation opens the door for us to dive into a deeper conversation with regard to racial microaggressions on campus. And we're starting that conversation right now with Rennie to kind of see what role would she like to play in that, if any at all. But it's definitely a conversation that we need to have as a community. We would have preferred to be able to have this dialogue and use examples of what's going on around the world and what's going on in the classroom, but now one of our students is at the center of that conversation. I think it makes it more emotional, more raw, more meaningful for our students, but we're prepared to have that conversation, but we want to do it in a manner that's respectful to Rennie and her desires. A police report has been filed with our Department of Public Safety. The Department of Public Safety then sends that report to the Student Conduct Office, which we call SJAX here. Student Conduct Office, since this particular incident also has potential harassment implications, our Title IX office will also be involved in the investigation and whatever response may happen. It may not end in disciplinary sanctions, right? Because some of these are freedom of speech issues. But we can have educational conversations with students to say, I want you to know that the behavior last night when you did X, Y, and Z offended a group of students. So we're still very early in the process of that investigation. So I'm not at liberty to discuss whether it's going to result in any disciplinary action. There's some freedom of speech implications here, but there's some inappropriateness that happened in our community that we have to respond to. And I believe we did respond to it immediately. The letter that went out to the community that was authored by both Rennie and I reflect our desire for us to have a better community than this. It's clear that this is not a symbol of who we are as a university, but it was the behavior of an individual student. The chapter of this organization has taken action against the individual student. IFC, as a governing body, has released a statement about this, and we're all on the same accord in that we don't condone this behavior, and we fully support the chapter's ability to hold their members accountable. I do not believe this incident represents the broader Greek community. I think there are many Greek men that are appalled by this behavior. USC is a microcosm of society at large. So things that happen in the world sometimes happen here. The thing that our students have brought to our attention is that when you're on this campus, we should be a better community than that. We do have to push harder on a shared responsibility from the university's administration and our student body to address climate issues that are reflected in the world, but also happen here on campus. I've sat down with African American men who said they've been racially profiled on campus. They felt like they were being followed by a security officer or an LAPD officer. I've talked to students who felt like it was hard for them to make friends with individuals in the residence halls because they were an international student or they were a student athlete, right? So I'm hearing from students who are expressing concerns about climate and their place on campus, but it's not one group. It's multiple groups. I don't know how prevalent these issues of climate are, and I'm not suggesting that it's not happening at all. I'm not suggesting the number is zero, but it's not 100% either, right? So where are we with regard to prevalence? So many students, when these issues happen, they say, it just happened to me, it's not that important, I'm not going to tell anyone. I need you to report that. Right now, we find ourselves in a very reactionary mode. When things happen, we're creating a response afterwards. But if we had data that was helping us understand how frequently these things happen and what times of the year these things happen, we can do a better job.